So this webinar is jointly presented by Spire Systems, Novation, and by ESN. The webinar topic is Essentials of Usability Reengineering. So a few housekeeping instructions before we go ahead. All participants' phones are by default set to be mute. If you have any questions, please type them in the chat window located beside the presentation panel. One of my colleagues is taking note of it, and he'll pass it to the panelists, and we'll answer all the questions in the last 10 minutes of the webinar. And in case if you are not receiving an answer during the discussion, we'll come back to you with our answers over an email. We'll also be sharing a recording of this session as soon as possible. Thanks a lot for joining again, and do enjoy the session. So this will be the broad agenda of today's presentation. I'm Ganesh, the Marketing Manager of Spire Systems, and I'll be presenting about Spire Systems, introducing the speakers, and then Ilango Kanagaraj will take over the usability engineering part of why we are actually picking this as a theme, and how does it, how does product tiering make an impact on usability engineering. And then Jeff will speak about when, how, and usability engineering, and followed by Folkred doing a demo of a project where he is seeing a lot of impact because of this usability engineering initiatives. The final session will be a Q&A session. Here's a quick update about Spire Systems. We are a 960+ employee company. We are primarily an IT offshore services company located in India. We have offices in UK and US as well. We have been growing at 34% per annum in the last 7 years, and we have 60+ active customers. We've been consistently ranked in the top 20 ranks by Great Place to Work in India. That's something all the employees have always been very proud of. We are working in one of the best companies in India, and we've been rated by Deloitte as the Fast 500 companies over the last 3 years as well. You could see a few more awards that we've been winning over the last few years. Moving on, these are the speakers that we have as panelists today. Folkred is the founder and managing director of by ESN. Basically, his company is a vendor of enterprise social networking software. Jeff Carter is the CTO of Novation company. They cater to the K-12 industry standards, education standards, and they provide a software for content management. Ilango Kanagaraji is the head of ISV Mobile and Consumer Internet Solutions, and he's part of Spire Systems. Basically, they'll be, between Folkred and Jeff, they'll be giving more about their company when they come up and speak. I'll leave the dais now to Ilango.
Good morning, everyone. Product tiering, as you see here, it's basically a framework that we use in Aspire to build products in a more faster way, so that the go-to-market strategy is met. So product tiering is nothing but it's a set of principles, practices, platforms, and also have the people. And we came through this framework based on our years of experience in building different products for different domains, ranging from this framework basically fits in ranging from startups to Fortune 500 companies as well. So it's a complete framework where we can use it to build your product in a better and a faster way. So that's what this is about. And if you see here, so usability engineering is actually coming under the practices framework. Basically, it's nothing but the framework has some practices on how a multi-tenant UI framework needs to be built in, or if you already have a legacy product, how you can create a minimum viable product using the latest technology like an HTML5 or a JavaScript or other things, and also how Agile can help you in the usability engineering aspect. And also this framework helps in providing some of the latest or the next generation usability trends, something like a single page application similar to a Facebook, or you have the interaction engineering for the data intensive applications where you have a lot of operators and executives using that application on a day-to-day basis, so that you have this interaction reduce some of their manual validations that normally, any data-intensive application would look towards. And other things like flip view-based content viewing, so that with the power of the tablets and more touch screen, like the Windows Surface and RT coming in, people would like to have the use of the touch screen so that they can flip through the contents rather than the current mouse click paginations. So these are some of the latest trends and things like that. It's part of the practices under the usability engineering. Under our productivity framework, we try to help customers build the usability aspects. So having said that, I would like to pass on this to Jeff Carter. As Ganesh mentioned, Jeff is the CTO of Novation, and he has developed the K-12 search content product, which they use it for the education industry in US and across the globe. So I will have Jeff take over from here, and thanks for everyone for joining us.
Thank you, Alongo. Greetings, everybody, and obviously thanks to Aspire for having me today. As Alongo said, my name is Jeff Carter, and I am the CTO of Novation. We produce education technologies for the K-12 space. Excellent. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually cover three kind of aspects to our user engineering practice, re-engineering practice. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go through a sort of the process. It's a high level that we go through in order to figure out when do we re-engineer? What are the stimulus? What are the action points and the activities that we go through in order to apply user re-engineering practices? The second is I'm going to talk briefly about the topology of infrastructure that we have to support Agile re-engineering based upon user and customer stimuli. And then lastly, I'm going to talk about, I think, one of the more unique and exciting techniques and technologies that we see today in order to apply user re-engineering. So let's just go ahead and get started. And basically, when do we re-engineer is one of those things where we generally follow a process of awareness and then clarification and prioritization and prototyping, implementation, and then the final review once that product goes back out to the marketplace. I think pivotal to this entire success is really this awareness component. And in the awareness step, it's really broken down into three pieces: the inquiry, the receptive, and the perceptive angles of awareness. Perceptive, obviously, is one of those things where existing products are out in the marketplace and our customers can give us feedback and indicate things that need to be adjusted within it. Receptive is where we're constantly paying attention to that market space. And inquiry is we make a very concerted effort to inquire from the market what needs to be done. And there are a lot of new advancements in that from a business perspective as well. I think one of the exciting things is this outcomes-driven innovation or jobs-based approaches to survey your marketplace and try and find value propositions within your product to make those changes. From there, we go through the clarification process, and depending upon the size of the organization or the intensity by which you draw that clarification, the scoping and the refinement of that need is either very formal or informal. And then we go through a prioritization step where we do the alignment of what we're going to do during the time period that we have and plan for those resources and plan for the actions and activities that's going to follow. From there, we either go through a large prototyping phase, depending upon the processes of implementation, If it's Agile, that prototyping and implementation generally blend. If you're more formal, then your prototyping falls into modeling, reviewing, and refining that model until you end up with the information that you need to go into implementation. During implementation, we evolve the solution, release the solution, and then I think very, very critical to the success of the re-engineering activities is the review process itself. So a little bit more about this piece. When we go through that awareness, we can treat awareness as sprints or phases or formalized projects depending upon your organization or institution. But I think it's very clear that when we get into the clarification and prioritization phase, we need to hone in on those user scenarios, those user stories, and develop those software requirements that comes out of there. Again, this depends upon the process and the methods that you use in order to distill the needs of the marketplace into an implementation. When we get into that prototyping and implementation phase altogether, again, if we're doing Agile Scrum based, we'll obviously be doing some sprints. If you're more iterative, we could go through some phases, and then if you're formal, you can go through a complete project plan itself. Some of the things to consider are too many releases, too frequent releases. We have found generally confuses users. So if you release every week in your production level application or your production level product, we've found that over time that has a tendency to confuse the users. However, the flip is also true. If we have too many infrequently releases, a lot of times we get blamed for being out of touch or our product goes stale. So the sweet spot really delivers updates at the right time to the right users in the right way. And depending upon your market, depending upon your customer base, most organizations have a good feel for when that is. One of the caveats to that, though, is that just make sure that we're always resolving our defects. As we continue then into the considerations for being effective in Agile-based user reengineering, one of the practices that we have here and that has been very successful for us is making sure that we distinguish between the application side of the house and a platform side of the house. And whether you're building a single application, whether it's web-based, client-server, or even an application, a desktop application in itself, it's always good to think about these two main components of any technology-based systems. The platform side of the house really has the features and functions that are unique to the business and the market and the like. And we've seen these, and within that platform are frameworks that we use to build those. We've all seen .NET, we've seen Java Spring, Ruby on Rails is a popular technology today, PHP, Zen, that sort of thing really lends itself to building this platform. And we call these foundational technologies. And a good rule of thumb in order to be successful is make sure that 90% of your business functionality is sort of contained within this platform. And use its API to communicate to applications. When we think about it from a standpoint of jargon that's in the industry today, it's the model view control paradigm where this is the model and the controller. There is a significantly high cost of change when we talk about the platform, and we definitely want to take advantage of processes that ensures that we do as little changing, little customization to the platform as possible. And really that means trying to define that platform to be a general purpose, again, that business functionality that will feed our application or applications. It stimulates that agility on the application side to change in light of customer information or that inquiry that we're really looking for. So on the application side of the house then, which is the delivered solutions, we want to make sure that greater than 90% of that fits the user engagement model. This is obviously the view and the model view controller paradigm, and based upon the technologies that exist today, we found that it actually has a lower cost and change than your fundamental platform and your framework component itself. Agile, Scrum, XP, and the like are excellent and ideal processes for implementing and maintaining and managing your applications. Primarily because when you go through that process, you're making these incremental changes that are viewable quite quickly. And so we tend to adopt those processes in the application phase itself. So that's really our when considerations, and this is sort of our platform that, again, has really worked well for us. And we continue to adopt this model as we contemplate new products or enhanced products to the market. So when we talk about agility and we keep in mind the platform, the frameworks, and the application breakdown, for platform agility, we must make sure that we have correct abstraction of services. If our services are not correctly abstracted, then they're merely serving a single application need, and they're not as flexible in other applications, especially as we start to scale out our application portfolio. We want to make sure that we have a breadth of functionality. So the more functions that exist, the easier it is for our applications to be flexible and to be extendable. We also want to make sure that we limit the application workflow, because a large part of the user interface and a large part of that application is in defining workflow for our users and our constituents. So we want to make sure that we don't bind our platform to that. If we follow these three pieces, we will have a very agile platform from which we can then go ahead and manage and process, implement, and change our application top layer. Application agility, on the other hand, we want to make sure that it's low cost and the speed to replace the entire application is there. If it's low cost to replace the entire application, then it's even lower cost to go ahead and make that incremental change based upon the awareness. We also want to make sure that we eliminate the coupling across the applications, because the last thing we want to do is change one application and have that dramatically impact the other. And lastly, we want to make sure that we encapsulate the application workflow within that application. So once we have the process down and we have the infrastructure ready to go ahead and support user reengineering, there are a lot of different techniques then that we can use in order to effectively implement change. A lot of these are technical jargons, and I apologize if anybody doesn't understand what these are. Please send me a message. But on the platform side, we have noticed that REST and JSON has really become a very powerful combination when it comes to an API on the platform. We also want to take a look at horizontal scalability and the techniques and the tools that we use. And there are a lot of really great technologies that are fitting that bill. Schemaless data storage has become an exciting technology that allows us to add new characteristics, new attributes, and new information to our persistent models. Non-blocking I/O has been a topic of debate, but it has been a great technology, I think, to help stimulate that large-scale data transfer without the elongated wait times. The growth in IaaS, the infrastructure as a service model, has been a huge benefit, especially when we talk about being able to horizontally scale out new servers, new space. It's been wonderful, and also using performant languages, using the languages that are built for capacity, built for volume, built for scalability. On the application side, we've seen AJAX, JSON, and REST really fit the bill in our web-based applications. We've seen JSON and REST also play a very big role in even tablet and phone-based systems where they're communicating to that platform over the web. We've seen responsive web design hit the news, I think, in the past 3 to 4 years. And it has just been a wonderful capability for us to write once and deploy and view on multiple devices. Our tried and true JavaScript and Cascade style sheets is a pretty good technology. And we're seeing a lot more things being done with JavaScript, especially as it pertains to pervasive computing and user reengineering. And then, of course, things like sprites, client-side caching, and it's emergent of what I call fast languages. Fast languages being more the interpretive languages like Ruby or PHP, and even things like Node.js and so forth. One thing that I will have to say is that in all but the most trivial solutions, I, Jeff Carter, wouldn't necessarily use application technologies for platforms, and nor would I use platform technologies for applications. I found that if you build platforms using very rapid agile methods, tech debt and refactoring becomes a major component of that. However, on the same side, I wouldn't use formal methods or longer methods on application side of the house, because you can't get your changes and your prototypes and your user feedback fast if you use one of those methods. So I just want to make sure that I highlighted that. So I want to talk about one of the things that I think is a unique technological advancement in user reengineering today. And the challenge that we all face is this emergence of tablet and smartphones. And as our applications start to mature, we see that in a lot of cases, we either have to write multiple sources, multiple applications to handle the different devices, the web, the tablet, and smartphone. And creating that separate code base is an increase in cost, it's an increase in time, and the maintainability and the changeability of it becomes very significant. We've seen it even worse where people say, well, I'm going to go ahead and just create one web application and hope for the best when it comes to tablets and smartphones. And we still don't think that that single representation from a single code base is all that effective. So what's exciting then is this responsive web design technology. It's where we write a single source document, a single source base for our application. And by applying certain techniques, libraries, especially JavaScript and Cascade style sheets, our applications become smarter, and they're able to adapt to the device that they're being rendered on. So we get a single source model that is applicable then to web, tablet, smartphone. The components of that are the grid, which is a flexible and fluid interface model, media queries based upon the client device, and of course then using flexible images. We're doing Agile and Scrum, we have to be careful that the more device signatures that are out there, so the different device sizes, the smartphones, the mini tablets, the larger tablets, the more story points that we have to inject into our Scrum for each one of the user stories. We also have to plan for multi-device testing, and we have to plan for that early. Just because we test it on the iPad, for example, doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to work effectively on the Samsung tablet or the Windows tablet. So we have to make sure that we plan for that early and integrate that within our process. We definitely also have to watch out for performance, and while the platform plays a major role in that, the application itself, based upon the programming logic that's embedded within there to make the shift to the devices, we just need to make sure that we're testing for that. One of the big ones we also have to be careful of is this increased cyclomatic complexity. if you're unaware, cyclomatic complexities, as they grow, generally increases the amount of maintainability and the touch points for errors or potential for errors within your application base. And then one of the things that we found was this cross-grid design consideration. We use some really wonderful designers here at this company. And what they like to do is to develop almost print-like print media-based applications. But when we start to take a look at cross-grid designs and responsive web design, it makes it a little difficult to carry over some of those visual components into a more grid piece. So we just need to be aware of where those crossovers occur. So with that, I'd like to thank you very much for indulging me and listening to the three things that I think are critical in user reengineering. And if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to message or shoot me an email. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Jeff. I mean, Fokrit, I would like you to take over and do the demo.
All right. Hello, everybody. I hope everybody can hear me and people can see my screen.
Yeah, we can, Fokrit.
All right. Very well. My name is Volker Rosenkamp. I am founder and CEO of By ESN. We are a Dutch-based company and we build enterprise social networking software. My presentation is a little bit less technical than Jeff just gave. I just want to give practical information on what we built and what challenges we faced while designing our portals. First, let me go over the agenda. I have made a short agenda for this webinar. I just want to quickly go over who we are. Then I want to give you a short introduction about what kind of product we have. Then I want to showcase the e-mental health industry network that we are building at this moment in Holland. And I also want to show the difference between the e-health industry network we are building, which is an open network serving the industry, and the closed network, a closed enterprise social network for film and TV professionals worldwide. I should not forget to thank Elengo and Aspire for giving me this chance, by the way, you know, for letting me have this webinar before I forget. All right. By ESN, we are a software vendor focused on product quality, cost control, and repeatable sales. Our financial health is very strong. We have no external shareholders, no debt, and we are well financed. We have a long-term vision. We have been building software for financial institutions since 1985. We cement the highest level of security, support, and sustainability. Here are a few companies that we are going to touch today. By ESN is the holding company. For the e-mental health industry, we have started a company, and for Byveo as well. It's all hosted from another daughter company here in Holland called By Hosting. Our partners are Spire Systems, of course. We outsource all the developments in India. We are very happy with that. You know, Spire offers many disciplines. We specialize in SaaS, cloud services, and web security are also, you know, very well managed. We have a fixed dedicated team in India. We've been working with them for about 3 years now. And, you know, we have an agreement with no end date, and if everything goes well, you know, we have a bright future ahead of us with this product. One of the main things which is so great about Aspire is that they are very scalable. If we have customers and we have a short-term project, it's easy to scale up, and it's also easy to scale down again. We have in Holland here a technical partner which takes care of the customization and implementation of our software. They also customize it according to our customers' needs and look and feel. So they basically take it out of Aspire's hands and implement it here for our customers. Our hosting company is located here in Amsterdam. in Telecity Group, which is Europe's leading data center. That's where we host all of our portals. Okay, just quickly, what are the by ESN portals exactly? We have a community networking platform for dedicated marketplaces and specific professional user group. There are customizable white label communities for specific professions, branches and associations. Each portal can be personalized to a certain extent with the customer's identity and in-house style. Oh, I pressed the wrong button. We have two different versions of by ESN. One is an industry portal, which is open for anybody within a certain industry. Anybody can basically log in and register and be part of the community. The other version is the by enterprise platform, which is closed and which can be implemented by companies for internal use in a private and secure environment. Our portals are very well integrated with all the social networking platforms. They are multilingual, scalable. They're easy to connect with, all the social, the popular social media sites out there. We provide continuous updates and new releases, new versions. We develop using Scrum method, and everything is working out great with Aspire in this way. So we are able to serve our customers frequent updates, in a fast, efficient manner. Now before I'm going to show you the different portals, I just want to give you a little bit more of an idea how the portals communicate with each other. This is serving the e-mental health industry in Holland. The idea is to connect different DGC, or GDC stands for e-mental health, so there's a little bit of Dutch mixed in here. But the idea is to connect all the different e-mental health companies in Holland via portals. Each company has their own look and feel of the portal to a certain extent, but they are interconnected using the GDC Kennisplein, which is the public portal where all the documents and all the knowledge and all the workplaces come together. Initially, the content which is shared in the center portal is given by a couple of companies here in Holland. By ESN provides the technical support, and user groups within the industry can also generate content using discussion groups and workplaces together, either with colleagues from the companies or from members, from industry members such as freelancers, freelance psychiatrists, for example. Once employees are logged into their company intranet, they have their own personal overview of all the different discussion groups and workplaces that they belong to. Of course, they have their own network, their own contacts. So they have their own personal space and basically a complete industry network. Okay, now I'm going to show you the GDC Kennisplein and Byveo. So I'm going to take you first to Byveo. This is the portal we have launched, it was last year, March I believe, for the film and the TV industry. It's a worldwide portal, multilingual, and it's basically, you can see it as a closed portal. So let me log in. As you see, we are not giving any information or content from inside the portal unless you log in. We've chosen this way specifically to pull people inside the portal, as opposed to the e-mental health network that we've created, where all the members can choose to publish and make content public to the outside world. Now, let's see if I type my password correctly. Okay, so here we are. This is basically the dashboard where every user lands on. For all the different companies, all the different industry portals which we have online right now use the same user interface. We have chosen this user interface because of its layout. We want to provide, easy usability for all users. We want to provide easy navigation throughout the portal, so users are not lost and users can easily navigate to whichever portion of the portal that they are or that they want to go. So here it gives an easy or a quick overview of all the different types of content which the portal has to offer. As you can see in the middle, we have the activity feeds. It's right in the center. People see it right away. It basically gives you all the feeds that that the program offers the users. On the right side, we have the jobs and projects. As you can see, all this content can be generated by the users themselves. As you can see, you can go to the navigation menu on your left, and you can browse, to the different modules and create the content which you want to create. Over here we have the media center. We have the messages, which there's a message center in the portals for your contacts. So it's a quick overview of all the different ingredients the portal has. One major functionality that we have are the groups and networks, which you can see over here. These are the groups and networks that I belong to. And of course you can once again go to your left here and create certain groups and invite users and start collaborating inside groups to create content, etc. The difference that I want to show now is between this closed portal and the open portal for the e-mental health industry. Byveo is just one portal on its own. The only content that is generated within this portal are the users themselves. So users have to bring in the videos and all the other content like audio or their own contacts. With the GGC Kennisplein for the e-mental health industry, the content is actually given and put in here by companies. So there's a big difference between the two. So let me show you the GGC Kennisplein, what we have made for them. This is the landing page of the social network for the e-mental health industry. As you can see, we have not logged in, but all the content which is shown on this home page is content generated by the users inside the portal, which they have chosen to publish on the landing page. As you can see, we have the 3-column layout here again. Right in the center we have catchy phrases. On the right we have themes. E-mental health professionals, they solve problems around certain themes. And for the rest, it lists all the content of the different modules. For example, news. These are workplaces, and these are discussion groups, and these are job vacancies. I apologize for the Dutch language. This is just a portal in Holland. This is not international yet. So this customer has chosen to remove the language selection from the portal. Over here we bring back the same themes as you can see on the right, where it shows the descriptions of certain themes. It has sub-themes, so sub-subjects, I guess you could call them. And here on top we have another menu which shows all the documents. This is basically a media center, also with the same 3-column layout. Here you see the different themes which are active at this moment. All of this different content is also adjustable and configurable by the admins via the CRM system, which I'm going to show you in a second. But for now, these themes have been activated, so you can see which content is connected to which themes, and you could also search for health documents This is basically the purpose why this portal is here, is because the government wanted to bring out, e-mental health knowledge-based documents and bring it out to the world so psychiatrists can use them and treat their patients in a better way. I now want to log in, and you will see the relationship with Byveo again. It's going to be, almost the same look and feel. So I'm going to bring you from the public part, basically the industry portal, back inside the closed environment. So here we are back again in the closed environment for the e-mental health industry. This is basically my control panel again. This is my own unique identity. Here I manage my network. Here I manage my contacts, all the documents that I have uploaded. And basically the same things as I have told you before, like, for example, the workplaces and the discussion groups. The only difference here is that we've chosen to bring in the navigation to the public portion of the portal to make it easy for the users to actually find the information. What we have experienced is that the target user group for this particular industry are not our hip and how do you say that, young generation, with all respect. So having to work with a detailed navigation menu on the left-hand side was proven a little bit too complicated for some. Therefore, we chose to bring the front side before the login into the portal itself. So I can bring you back to the front page where we just were before the login, and you'll see we have the same front page, but now because I'm logged in, we have a little bit of profile information. You can share what you're working on, so you can keep you can keep your network in touch with you about what you're working on and what you're doing. And we have you can see that the two menu bars over here are the same in the login and inside, or before and after the login.
Okay, so yeah, thanks Fakat for your time there, and we'll move on to the question and answer session now. Okay, so there, Jeff, you are there?
I sure am.
Okay. So there has been a question by one participant. So basically it says, like, does the responsive web design apply for products which require varied display preferences, or is it something to be considered at the platform level?
Yeah, that's such a great question. I responded to it, but I'll go ahead and summarize here. Responsive web design itself fundamentally concerns itself with the changeability of the application interface as it pertains to the different devices that are out in the marketplace today. And I say fundamentally, but the truth is there's logic within that responsive web design that even touches the amount of data and even the functionality that the application can call. When the application itself limits the amount of data that's being passed back and forth between the server and the device, the platform itself has to be developed in such a way that it is responsive to that request. So if your application pulls down 100 different data elements, but you go to a phone using 3G, the last thing that you want to do is to pass down that many elements. So the service that is in the platform needs to also support part and parceling to account for that. The interface for smartphones and tablets, again, that's an application related responsibility. But there are some touch points with responsive web designs and the functional nature and the data nature of the platform services themselves.
Okay, so that's a good answer, Jeff. And we have one more another question from one of the attendees, and this is for Fokat. So basically, they would like to know what is the platform of Bivio. Is it LAMP or is it .NET?
It's PHP actually.
Okay. So that's fine. And Fokat, we have one more question that is being posted here, which basically again for you, Fokat. So it's asking, what are the challenges that you encountered when you developed this portal and having the two UI representing the same content?
What challenges we faced? Good question. Well, we faced a lot of challenges, coming up with this layout. What we tried to accomplish is not to bore people having to click through many pages finding their content. So the most important thing was to offer all the information all at once on one single page without the user having to look for information. What we did do is we actually gave the users the choice of what can be displayed on the dashboard. So if they want to skip information, if they want to take out information, they have the choice to do so. But that is basically the only freedom that they had, or that they have. Looking at the general, websites that are out there at this moment, you can basically come to one conclusion about what the best layout is if you want to display a lot of information. And that is basically what we follow. We don't try to reinvent the wheel, but we try to follow the trend. So I guess, I hope I answered your question a little bit.
Yeah, Fokat. I think that's a good answer. And Jeff, so we have one more question for you, right? So basically the question is about, so the question is about, you mentioned about, having a single code base for, different, applications, mobile, tablet. So basically they would like to know whether that's a way to go forward, or, you have the responsibility so that it works on multi-platform. So what's your view on that?
Wonderful. And that's actually a wonderful question. You can't go wrong with both ways. And the second way is actually developing, say, using Objective-C, say, an iOS application, or whether you're actually developing a application that has been compiled for the device. Obviously, the response times and the user interaction has some level of effect on that. We've seen some studies done where, in fact, I think there was an article on the web on the U.S. campaign when Mitt Romney and Barack Obama were campaigning, and Mitt Romney, for example, I believe he was the one that actually had an application built. A device-built application. So they were building iOS applications. They were building, Android-based applications as well as web-based applications. And in some respect, the response times of those applications are much quicker than they are if you're using responsive web designs and using web pages to be flipped on the device. However, the code base itself was quite large, and the maintainability of it. So if you change the web page, what do you do when you develop for the device? So that's kind of a long answer, but you can't go wrong either way. But it has to be a business strategic decision, not a technical strategic decision. Although the technology itself will impact that business strategy.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks, Jeff, for answering that. And Fokat, there is a question for you. So basically, one of the attendees would like to know how long did it take for BioView to develop? Who developed it, in-house or was it outsourced?
It's a very good question. It was actually a very very interesting path that we have taken. We started developing BioView about 4 years ago. We have invested, we actually recalculated it, and we have invested about 20 man-years into this platform so far. Thank God we found Aspire as our outsourcing partner. I don't have any developers working for me here in Holland. All the development is being done in India from start to the end. Well, the end is not anywhere near. So yeah, we outsource everything. We do have an implementation partner here in Holland because customers like to talk to somebody who speaks Dutch, and English is not always the language that people speak here. So therefore we have a partner here in Holland who takes care of the implementation, customization, and who basically takes the product from Aspire and takes it to the customer. And for the rest, Aspire just works to develop the platform, and it's been working out very, very great. Yep. Also thanks to the Agile way of working. We have a dedicated team. I know these guys very well, and I'm on the phone a lot every week, discussing about new functionalities, going through the Scrum process, and making the platform better and better, and serving our customers as they are asking for new functionalities to come out.
Okay. Thanks Fouquet, for answering that question. And so basically there's one more question that is directed towards Aspire. So basically one attendant is asking, who designed the UI for the BioView platform. So the answer is Aspire helped the BioView team to do the UI design from India.
Yeah, that's a good thing actually. I didn't mention this, but it's actually Aspire's design. Yep. Aspire, well, of course, we came up with our ideas, and this is basically version 2.0. When we came to Aspire, we already had, actually, while we were working with Aspire, we already had a first design, but Aspire decided to, redesign basically the whole user interface.
Yep. Okay. Yeah, I think that. Thanks, Fouquet. Ganesh, take on.
Yeah, I think that's all we have for now. I mean, there are a few more questions that might need some intense answers over the email, but I think that's all we have. Thanks a lot, Jeff, Fouquet, and Ilango for presenting this, and thanks to all the participants who have taken their time off and joining us over the webinar. We'll soon drop you an email with a recording of the webinar. Again, thanks for participating. Bye-bye.
Okay, thanks everybody. Thank you, Jeff. Nice to meet you.